All right, let's dive in. We're looking at this new Deloitte Insights report, the 2025 Manufacturing Industry Outlook.
Fresh off the press, just came out November 20th, 2024.
And I'm already seeing it pop up everywhere.
Yeah, Deloitte Insights, their research is always super practical. They're all about helping companies actually put ideas into action.
And this report, it's not just some dry economic forecast. It gets into how manufacturers are strategically dealing with all these huge uncertainties we're facing.
Exactly, yeah. Talent shortages, AI, clean tech, it's all in there.
And honestly, the global landscape feels like a bit of a roller coaster right now.
Tell me about it.
We've got rising costs. Who knows what policies are coming after the elections, both here and globally.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, can U.S. manufacturing really thrive in this environment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Deloitte kicks things off by analyzing U.S. manufacturing in 2024 using data from S&P Global. It's kind of a mixed bag, to be honest.
Oh, how so?
Well, the first half of the year actually looked pretty promising. The Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, actually hit expansion territory.
Wait, back up for a sec. PMI. For those of us who don't track it every day?
Sure. Think of PMI as a health check for the manufacturing sector. Above 50 means things are growing. Below 50, they're shrinking.
Gotcha.
So yeah, seeing the PMI move into expansion, that's a good sign, right?
Seems like it, so all smooth sailing from there.
Not quite. Weaker demand in July dragged that PMI right back down. Kind of signals that manufacturers might need to, scale back production a bit.
Well, bit of a roller coaster ride then. And even with inflation easing up, I bet those high costs are still a major headache for manufacturers.
Absolutely. Material costs are still up there. And compensation, like wages and benefits, they just keep climbing. It's a tough situation trying to balance it all.
No kidding. So we've got some positive signs, but some real challenges too. But here's the thing that I find really interesting. Manufacturers are pouring record amounts of money into construction. What's the deal with that?
It's definitely something to think about, right? You've got weakening demand on one side and there's huge construction spending on the other. Seems like manufacturers are adjusting to the current situation, but they're also doubling down on the future, betting on growth down the line.
It's like they're saying we're in it for the long haul, even with all this uncertainty. So what about 2025? What's Deloitte predicting?
Well, they're saying it'll be a challenging year for sure, but there's potential for some upswings too.
Okay, so what are the main factors at play here? What's driving this forecast?
Those high costs we talked about, they're not going away anytime soon. Then you've got the elections, both in the U.S. and globally, which could mean big policy changes. Plus, the whole geopolitical situation is pretty unstable. It all adds up to a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, I can see how that would make businesses hesitant to make any big moves. But can you break it down a bit more? How could these policy changes specifically impact manufacturers? Could we see another round of supply chain chaos?
Oh, definitely. Policy shifts can send shockwaves through the entire manufacturing ecosystem. Supply chain disruptions, for sure, leading to delays and even higher costs. Demand could fluctuate like crazy, making it tough for manufacturers to plan production. It's a lot to juggle.
So it's not just about weathering the economic storm. It's about, anticipating those policy shifts and being ready to adapt on the fly.
Exactly. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom, right? Lower interest rates could really give the economy a boost, making it cheaper for businesses to borrow and invest. That could lead to more demand for manufactured goods.
That's true. The Fed's aiming for that soft landing, slowing inflation without triggering a recession. But are they going to pull it off? Is a slowdown still on the table?
There's always that risk, yeah. Even if the Fed seems confident, consumer spending's been strong. But if unemployment ticks up in 2025, things could change fast. And if people aren't buying, well, manufacturers aren't producing.
It's a tightrope walk, that's for sure. And speaking of balance, this report really emphasizes workforce strategy. Why is that so crucial right now?
Well, even though the labor market is easing up a bit, finding and keeping good people is still a top challenge for manufacturers.
Right. I imagine that's especially tough when every penny counts.
Oh, absolutely. Replacing a skilled worker, that can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000.
Wow, that's a serious chunk of change. So it's not just about competitive salaries anymore. What are some of the other things manufacturers are doing to attract and keep skilled workers?
Well, they're realizing it's about the entire employee experience. Creating a good work environment, investing in training and development, using digital tools to improve how they manage their workforce. It's not just about getting talent in the door. It's about keeping them happy and engaged.
This whole thing about using digital tools to manage the workforce is really interesting. Can you give me an example of what that actually looks like?
Sure, sure. Gartner predicts that by 2025, most big companies with hourly workers will be using advanced workforce management software.
And what can this software actually do?
A lot, actually. It can, gauge employee sentiment, suggest changes to shift patterns, even enable flexible scheduling. Improves communication between the company and the workers, too.
Huh. So it's like taking all those apps we use to manage our personal lives and bringing them into the workplace. Makes sense. But this technology goes beyond just scheduling, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. AI-based tools for skills management are getting super sophisticated. They can analyze workforce needs, spot skill gaps, even recommend upskilling opportunities for current employees. It's like having a personal career advisor built into the system.
That's wild. Sounds like these tools could be a total game changer for manufacturers. Helps them stay ahead of the curve and build a future-proof workforce.
Exactly. And then, by taking a skills-based approach to hiring, manufacturers can open up their talent pool. Look beyond the traditional qualifications and maybe find some hidden gems who didn't take the usual path.
It's like opening up a whole new world of possibilities, both for the companies and for the workers. It's not just about filling positions, it's about finding the right people and helping them reach their full potential.
Now, let's talk about AI and generative AI in manufacturing. I know there's been a ton of hype around this, but this report emphasizes that manufacturers are getting really strategic about their AI investments. It's not just about chasing the latest shiny object. They're focused on getting actual results.
They're being smart about it, focusing on applications that actually align with their business goals. Makes sense to me. But all this AI talk makes me think about the data side of things. AI needs data, and lots of it. Are manufacturers up to the task?
That's the key question, and it's honestly one of the biggest hurdles right now. AI is only as good as the data you feed it, right? And a lot of manufacturers are struggling with data quality. Inconsistencies, missing information, trouble validating data. It's a mess.
So it's not just about having data, it's about having the right data organized and accessible for AI to use. Sounds like a huge undertaking. What are manufacturers doing to address this?
They're investing in data lifecycle management, which is basically, improving data quality, adding context, making sure it's all properly validated. It's like cleaning up a messy room before you can have guests over.
So where are manufacturers seeing the most promising returns on their AI investments? Where are they focusing their efforts?
Two areas really stand out: customer service and product design. Think about it. Both of these areas already generate tons of data. Good place to start.
Can you give me some real-world examples of how AI is being used in these areas?
Picture this. AI-powered chatbots helping customers find product info, troubleshoot problems, even place orders. And on the design side, generative AI can analyze engineering archives and actually identify opportunities to innovate, even on those old legacy products.
That's pretty amazing. It's like breathing new life into those existing products, unlocking their hidden potential. So, if AI can help companies do more with less, how do you think that will shake up the competition in 2025?
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Companies that really nail their AI strategy, they'll be able to operate more efficiently, develop new products faster, and provide a better customer experience.
It's like having a secret weapon to stay ahead of the game.
Now, we've seen some easing in those supply chain pressures since the peak of the pandemic, but there's still a major concern for manufacturers.
I can see why. Lead times for materials are still longer than pre-pandemic, and those disruptions just keep popping up. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You fix one problem and another one pops up somewhere else.
You got it. But manufacturers are changing their strategies to deal with this new reality. They're moving away from just focusing on resilience and trying to find a balance between cost optimization and, building in some flexibility to handle disruptions.
So, they're walking a tightrope. Keep costs down while also making sure their supply chains can weather any storm. What kind of strategies are we talking about here? Give me the specifics.
Well, diversifying their sources, for one. And then there are mergers and acquisitions to gain more control over those supply chains, strengthening partnerships with key suppliers, and even building up their internal capabilities to be less reliant on external factors. It's about having multiple options,
Okay, let's dive into those supply chain disruptions a bit deeper. What are some of the big challenges manufacturers are facing right now? Paint me a picture.
Think about shipping delays caused by things like geopolitical tensions or even low water levels in the Panama Canal. Then you've got the truck driver shortage that just won't quit, and labor unrest, like that potential U.S. dock worker strike we've been hearing about. And of course, those rising input costs, hitting everything from transportation and logistics to wages and raw materials.
Yikes, that's a lot to deal with. Makes you realize just how interconnected everything is in the manufacturing world. You mentioned policy changes after the elections. How could those throw a wrench into the supply chain works?
Oh, for sure. New trade policies, changes to tariffs, even shifts in climate policy, those could all cause major disruptions. It's a lot of uncertainty hanging over the industry.
It really makes you think about how vulnerable the products we use every day are to all these global events. It's pretty wild when you stop and think about it.
It really is. Now, here's something interesting. Despite all this uncertainty, the report shows that manufacturers are actually doubling down on digital transformation. It's a pretty hopeful sign, actually.
It's like they're saying, we're not going to let these challenges hold us back. We're going to use technology to come out of this even stronger. What does Deloitte's research say about the state of digital transformation in manufacturing? Are companies actually putting their money where their mouth is?
Their 2023 Digital Maturity Index found that 98% of manufacturers, 98%, have at least started their digital transformation journey. That's a massive jump from just a few years ago. Clearly, they're serious about this.
Wow, 98%. So what's driving this digital transformation? Are there specific areas where technology can really make a difference?
Absolutely. Cost optimization, operational efficiency, product innovation, and improving the customer experience. They're using technology to make every part of the business better.
And they're backing it up with some serious investment.
Oh yeah, technology is a big part of manufacturers' budgets now, and it's only going to grow. But it's not just about spending money. It's about spending it wisely in the right places.
So what's on the tech investment agenda for 2025? What specific technologies are manufacturers putting their chips on?
A solid digital core and data foundation is key. Things like manufacturing operations management, or MOM, and manufacturing execution systems, MES, those are becoming increasingly important. They give you real-time visibility across the entire organization, connecting the enterprise to the factory floor.
It's like having a digital dashboard showing you what's happening in every corner of the business. And what about data architecture? I imagine that's crucial for ensuring all those systems can actually talk to each other.
Exactly. And that's where the unified namespace data architecture comes in. Think of it like a central hub where all the data is standardized and instantly accessible. No more messing around with complex connections between different systems. Makes data management way more efficient.
It's like a universal translator for all those different pieces of software used in manufacturing. I can see how that would be a game changer. But with all this focus on software and data, what about the human element? Are people being left behind in this digital revolution?
Not at all. That's where technologies like 5G, model-based enterprise, extended reality, XR, and AI come into play. They actually enhance human capabilities, not replace them. 5G enables super-fast data collection and communication. Model-based enterprise creates a digital thread connecting every stage of the product lifecycle. And XR and AI are being used for everything from training to augmenting human decision-making.
Wow, it's like giving workers superpowers. And speaking of superpowers, let's talk about simulation. I'm hearing more and more about it in the manufacturing world. How are companies using simulation to their advantage?
It's becoming super powerful for making decisions, optimizing processes, and even planning for different scenarios. Imagine being able to test things out and make informed choices without any real-world consequences. That's the power of simulation.
It's like a virtual sandbox where you can experiment without any risk. Can you give me a specific example of how this works?
Take causal AI, for instance. It can create simulations that actually model cause and effect relationships, so manufacturers can see how different factors will impact their operations and make smarter choices.
So fascinating. So it's not just about analyzing the past, it's about predicting the future. What other types of simulations are companies using?
Simulating production lines is a big one. You can identify bottlenecks and streamline workflows before you even touch the physical production line. It's like having a crystal ball for your operations.
And what about simulating business scenarios? How does that fit in?
Think of it as wargaming for the manufacturing world. Companies can use a model of their entire business to simulate all sorts of challenges. Employee absences, raw material quality issues, supply chain disruptions. It helps them find weak spots, develop strategies to mitigate risk.
It's like they're anticipating problems and finding solutions before they even arise. That's incredibly proactive. The report also talks about a move towards software-driven manufacturing, not just inside the factory, but for connecting products out in the field. It's similar to what we're seeing with cars, where software is becoming a core part of the vehicle. Can you give me a real-world example of what that looks like? How are manufacturers connecting products out in the field?
Imagine a customer portal where they can track how their machines are performing, schedule maintenance, and get instant support from the manufacturer. That's the kind of future some manufacturers are building.
It's like having a direct line to the manufacturer, 24/7. Incredible. What kind of data can these connected products provide?
Tons of valuable information. Usage patterns,
Uh-huh.
operational performance, you name it. And this data can be used to boost performance, make servicing easier, even create a smoother customer experience.
It's like giving manufacturers real-time insights into how their products are actually being used out in the world. I bet that can really improve customer satisfaction and loyalty. But what are some of the challenges in making this software-driven vision a reality?
Interoperability is a big one. Manufacturers often have a mix of new and legacy systems, and getting them all to play nice together can be tricky. Then you've got security and data privacy, which are absolutely critical considerations.
It sounds like there are a lot of moving parts to consider.
Absolutely. And perhaps most importantly, you need to build a workforce with the right skills. A mix of technical know-how, digital savvy, and those all-important soft skills. You need people who can build and maintain these systems, but also understand the business and the needs of the customers.
It's clear that technology is playing a huge role in reshaping the manufacturing industry. But let's shift gears and talk about sustainability. How are manufacturers navigating the green shift amidst all this economic uncertainty?
That's a great question. The Deloitte report dives into this, and it points out that while investment in U.S. clean technology manufacturing slowed down in 2024, the commitment to electrification and decarbonization is still going strong.
So even though overall investment has cooled off, companies are still focused on reducing emissions and creating more sustainable products.
Absolutely. Industrial manufacturers are increasingly talking about electrification and something called Scope 3 emissions in their reports and communications.
Scope 3 emissions, what are those exactly?
Think of them as the emissions that come from a company's supply chain, the materials they source, the transportation of their products, all that stuff. They're not just looking at their own operations, but taking a broader view of their environmental impact.
So it's about a more holistic approach to sustainability. That's pretty impressive. Are customers demanding more sustainable products too? Is that part of the equation?
Definitely. Deloitte's analysis found that reports from companies in sectors like engineering and construction, mining, and metals, who are often customers of industrial manufacturers, are also increasingly mentioning electrification and their own operational emissions, known as Scope 1 emissions. This suggests they're committed to lowering their emissions, which will drive demand for cleaner products.
It's encouraging to see that sustainability is still a top priority, even with all the economic headwinds. But how are manufacturers actually making their products more sustainable? What does that look like in practice?
They're making targeted investments in adding lower carbon options to their product lines. Electric power, hydrogen power, that sort of thing. The goal is to hit those Scope 3 emission targets they've set.
Do you have any examples of companies putting these plans into action?
Sure. One heavy equipment manufacturer wants to add over 20 electric and hybrid models to their lineup by 2026. And a diesel engine manufacturer is aiming for a 25% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions over the lifetime of their new products by 2030. Those are just two examples, but it shows how companies are walking the walk on sustainability.
So even though investment in clean tech manufacturing might have taken a bit of a breather, there's still a lot happening beneath the surface. Companies are choosing where to invest carefully with those long-term sustainability goals in mind.
Exactly. And it's not just the manufacturers themselves. The companies that supply industrial manufacturers are also changing what they offer to align with this focus on electrification and reduced emissions. They see the opportunity in clean energy and sustainable solutions, and they're stepping up to provide the technologies that manufacturers need to meet their goals.
It's a team effort. Manufacturers, suppliers, and customers working together to create a more sustainable future for the entire industry. But given all the economic uncertainty we've talked about, what are the things that could influence further investment in clean tech manufacturing in 2025?
Well, government incentives and regulations play a huge role. With the elections coming up, both here and globally, we could see some major policy changes. Companies might take a wait-and-see approach before making any big investments. Lower interest rates could also encourage investment in clean technologies, making it more affordable for companies to finance those projects. But then there's the flip side. The higher costs manufacturers are already dealing with. That could make it harder to justify a green premium that extra cost customers sometimes pay for more sustainable products.
So it's a bit of a puzzle. Manufacturers need to make those clean technologies cost-effective for their customers while also reaching their own sustainability targets. It's a balancing act for sure.
Absolutely. It's a complex situation, but it's one that manufacturers are actively trying to figure out. As we've been talking about all these trends, one thing that really stands out to me is this sense of cautious optimism in the report. It's not all sunshine and rainbows for U.S. manufacturing, but there's this definite feeling that these companies are finding opportunities amidst all the uncertainty.
It's like they're saying, okay, we see the challenges, but we're not going to let them paralyze us. We're going to adapt and innovate our way to a brighter future.
Exactly. And that's where the idea of targeted innovation comes in. It's not about chasing every flashy new technology that hits the market. It's about being strategic, making smart choices, and focusing on areas where technology can truly make a difference. Remember all those economic factors and potential disruptions we discussed? Well, manufacturers are tackling them head-on with some pretty impressive innovations.
So give me some examples. What does this targeted innovation actually look like?
Well, we already talked about AI being used to enhance customer service and product design, right? Those are prime examples of using technology to solve real-world problems and create tangible value for businesses. But it goes far beyond that. Manufacturers are also using advanced talent planning and management tools to build a workforce that's ready for the future.
You're right. We talked about those AI-powered tools that help identify skill gaps and even suggest upskilling opportunities for employees. It's like having a built-in career coach helping companies develop their workforce.
Exactly. And remember those supply chain woes we discussed. Manufacturers aren't just sitting back and hoping for the best. They're using AI for advanced analytics, value chain simulation, and to create more transparency and collaboration throughout their supply chains.
It's like they're building a digital nervous system for their supply chains, giving them the ability to sense and respond to disruptions in real time.
That's a great way to put it. And let's not forget about the impact of these innovations on the factory floor itself. Technologies like extended reality, or XR, are being used for everything from workforce training to customer support, creating more immersive and effective experiences.
I remember reading about companies using XR to train employees in virtual environments. It's a brilliant way to provide hands-on experience without any real-world risk. Plus, it's much more engaging than traditional classroom-style training.
And think about the cost savings. XR training eliminates travel and logistics costs associated with traditional training, and it can be easily scaled and customized to meet the needs of different employees. It's a win-win.
This whole idea of targeted innovation is fascinating, using technology to address specific challenges and create real value. But it's not just about individual technologies, right? It's about how these technologies work together to create a more efficient and resilient operation.
Exactly. It's about creating a connected, intelligent ecosystem where data flows seamlessly, systems work together in harmony, and humans and machines collaborate effectively. This is where the model-based enterprise approach comes in. It's all about breaking down those data silos and creating a single source of truth for product information, accessible to everyone involved in the product lifecycle.
So it's like having a digital twin of the product that everyone can work on in real time. This must be a game changer for collaboration and innovation.
Absolutely. And it's particularly important when it comes to developing complex products, like those in the clean technology sector. See, the transition to a cleaner, more sustainable future requires a lot of innovation and a lot of collaboration. Manufacturers need to be able to develop and bring to market new technologies that meet the growing demand for lower emission products. And the model-based enterprise approach can help them do that more efficiently.
It sounds like this approach could really accelerate the development of clean technologies, which is something we all want to see.
Absolutely. And it highlights how targeted innovation can drive progress, not just for individual companies, but for the entire industry and for society as a whole.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Deloitte's 2025 Manufacturing Industry Outlook, what's the one key message you want our listeners to take away?
Despite the challenges and uncertainties on the horizon, the future of U.S. manufacturing is bright. It's an industry that's constantly evolving, adapting, and innovating. And it's one that will continue to play a vital role in the U.S. economy and in our everyday lives.
And that's thanks in no small part to the ingenuity, resilience, and determination of the people who work in this industry. The men and women who are on the front lines, rolling up their sleeves every day and finding ways to make things better, smarter, and more sustainable.
This report has given us a lot to think about. It's a reminder that the manufacturing industry is a complex and dynamic ecosystem, one that's being shaped by so many factors. from global economic trends and technological advancements to shifting consumer preferences and environmental concerns.
It's really about how those forces come together and create both challenges and opportunities for the industry.
Exactly. And it's about how manufacturers respond to those forces, how they adapt and innovate to create a better future for themselves, for their workers, and for the world around them.
So much of this report focuses on technology, AI, simulation, digital transformation. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of these advancements. But what about the human side of manufacturing?
That's a really important point. All these technological advancements are exciting, but at the end of the day, it's people who drive innovation and make things happen. The people who design and build the products, the people who operate the machines, the people who manage the supply chains. They are the heart of the manufacturing industry.
And as technology continues to transform the industry, it's more important than ever to invest in those people, to equip them with the skills and knowledge they need to thrive in this new landscape.
Absolutely. It's not about replacing humans with machines. It's about using technology to enhance human capabilities, to make work more efficient, more engaging, and more rewarding. It's about creating a future where people and technology work together to create a more sustainable and prosperous world.
This brings us back to that idea of a skills-based approach to talent that we discussed earlier. It's not just about degrees and certifications anymore. It's about identifying the skills that are essential for success in the future of manufacturing and finding ways to develop those skills in the workforce.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond traditional hiring practices and looking for individuals who have the potential to learn and grow. It's about creating a culture of lifelong learning within manufacturing companies, where employees are encouraged to continuously develop their skills and stay ahead of the curve.
This shift towards a skills-based approach is really exciting. It has the potential to open doors for people who might not have had access to traditional manufacturing jobs in the past. It's about creating a more inclusive and diverse workforce that reflects the communities where these companies operate.
Absolutely. And it's not just about social responsibility. It's about good business. A more diverse workforce brings a wider range of perspectives, ideas, and experiences to the table, which can drive innovation and improve decision-making.
It's about creating a workplace where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their best work.
Exactly. And that's what will ultimately drive success in the future of manufacturing.
This deep dive into Deloitte's 2025 Manufacturing Industry Outlook has been incredibly insightful. It's clear that the industry is facing some significant challenges, but it's also clear that manufacturers are rising to the occasion. They're embracing innovation, investing in their workforces, and finding ways to operate more sustainably.
It's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the industry, and it gives me hope for the future.
Me too. There's a lot to be optimistic about, but there's also a lot of work to be done. As we look ahead to 2025 and beyond, it's important to remember that the future of manufacturing is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create.
And that's a powerful message.
It really is. So if you're listening to this and you're part of the manufacturing ecosystem, whether you're a CEO, an engineer, a technician, or a student, ask yourself, what role do you want to play in shaping the future of this industry?
Your actions, your decisions, your innovations, they all matter.
We've talked a lot about the big picture trends shaping the future of manufacturing, but let's bring it down to a personal level for our listener. For someone who's maybe thinking about a career in manufacturing, or for someone who's already in the industry and wants to stay ahead of the curve, what advice would you give?
I would say embrace lifelong learning. The manufacturing industry is constantly evolving, so it's crucial to stay curious and keep developing your skills. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone and explore new technologies, new processes, new ways of thinking.
That's great advice. And I would add, be adaptable. The only constant in manufacturing is change, so being able to adapt to new challenges and opportunities is essential for success.
I completely agree. And don't underestimate the power of networking. Build relationships with people inside and outside your company. Attend industry events, join online forums, connect with mentors. The more connections you make, the more opportunities will come your way.
And don't be afraid to share your ideas and your passion for manufacturing. This is an industry that's full of incredible people who are doing amazing things. Be proud to be a part of it.
You know, one of the things that really excites me about the future of manufacturing is the increasing focus on sustainability. We're seeing a real shift towards cleaner, more efficient processes and more sustainable products.
And it's not just driven by regulations or consumer demand. It's driven by a genuine desire to do what's right for the planet and for future generations.
Absolutely. And this shift towards sustainability is creating a whole new set of opportunities for innovation and job creation.
It's an exciting time to be a part of this industry. We're seeing the convergence of cutting-edge technologies, a growing awareness of the importance of sustainability, and a renewed focus on the value of human skills and ingenuity.
It's a perfect storm for positive change.
I like the way you put that. A perfect storm for positive change.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but there's always more to explore. The Deloitte report is a fantastic resource, but it's just the starting point. I encourage our listener to continue their own research, to dig deeper into the topics that resonate with them, and to connect with others who are passionate about the future of manufacturing.
This is an industry that's constantly evolving, so there's always something new to learn and discover. And the more you learn, the more you'll realize just how much potential there is in this industry.
It's an industry that's full of possibilities, and it's an industry that needs talented, passionate individuals to help shape its future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one final thought. Don't be afraid to dream big. The future of manufacturing is limited only by our imagination.
And our willingness to act.
Let's go out there and make it happen.
You know, one thing that really strikes me about this report is how it highlights the massive transformation that's already happening in U.S. manufacturing. It's not just like small tweaks here and there. It's a total shift in how companies operate, how they innovate, how they compete.
It does feel like we're at a turning point. All these forces, digital tech, sustainability, the changing workforce, it's all coming together to reshape the entire industry.
It is, yeah.
Right.
It's like a perfect storm, but in a good way. Manufacturers are taking these challenges head on, experimenting, finding a new way forward.
And it's inspiring to see them not just reacting to these changes, but actually shaping them. It's not about holding on to the old ways. It's about embracing the possibilities and finding solutions to these really complex problems.
Exactly. This report, it's more than just numbers and trends. It really shows the power of human ingenuity. You know, it's about the people who are pushing the limits, questioning assumptions, and creating a better future for the industry.
It's a great reminder that even with all the uncertainty, there's always room for optimism, creativity, and progress. And that brings us to a really important question for our listener. What role will you play in shaping the future of manufacturing?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. The future of manufacturing isn't set in stone. It's something we all have a hand in creating.
We spent a lot of time talking about the big trends and technologies, but at the end of the day, it's the people who make the real difference. The engineers, the technicians, the designers, the entrepreneurs, they're the heart and soul of manufacturing.
Absolutely. And this transformation isn't limited to the factory floor. It's happening in research labs, in boardrooms, in classrooms all across the country. Everyone has a part to play in this.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Deloitte's 2025 Manufacturing Industry Outlook, we want to leave you with a sense of what's possible, a call to action. The future is ours to make.
Don't be afraid to dream big, to challenge the way things have always been done, to push the boundaries. The future of manufacturing is full of opportunities for those who are willing to grab them.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, got your imagination going, and inspired you to be a part of the incredible future that lies ahead for U.S. manufacturing. This report has been a fantastic jumping-off point for our conversation, but there's always more to learn and explore. And we encourage you to keep digging, to dive deeper into the topics that really resonate with you, and to connect with others who share your passion for this industry.
It's an industry that's always changing, so there's always something new to discover. The more you learn, the more you'll see the incredible potential that's waiting to be unlocked.
It's an industry full of possibilities, and it needs talented, passionate people to help shape its future.
Exactly.
So as we close out this episode, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Ooh, I like this. What is it?
Don't be afraid to dream big. The future of manufacturing is only limited by our imagination and, well,
Our willingness to make those dreams a reality.
that's it. So let's go out there and make it happen.